Hello? In height, maybe 5'5", a non-devotee would say, a small man. Most of his disciples stood taller than he, but we didn't think like that he was a little man. If we saw reporters describe him as a little man, it did not make sense. That was obviously the defective version of a non-devotee. His servant once said, for someone who's supposed to be small, it takes all of your energy to cover his back to massage it. I can't understand it. His shoe size was 8, his sweater size was around 36. The palm of his hand were soft and boldly lined with long, firm lifelines. There was something protective that came out of his disciples in the fact that Srila Prabhupada's height was shorter. We wanted him to be sure to protect him because he was so great, so valuable, our spiritual master. In the company of karmis, or in the company of the devotees, he was regal as he walked with his cane, not at all a small or old man. Any person, regardless of his physical stature, would approach Prabhupada respectfully, deferring to him. Prabhupada was elderly and a gentleman, and was almost always treated in that way, very respectfully. Because when he spoke, he was very refined and proper. He himself proclaimed his spiritual mission by his every action, and people could see that for themselves. Usually accompanying him were his Western disciples, who were very worshipful of Srila Prabhupada. That was also impressive. He was not alone, but with his servants. If he looked small, still he controlled others who were tall. Therefore, he was taller than they. He had strength. He would say his mind was strong. His face was not small, nor was his aristocratic nose and full mouth. His eyes were large, and again, these contradicted the small man idea. He was a saint, sadhu, not small. He did not sit small, his voice was deep. His voice was deep, could be gruff, loud, commanding, not small. His control of big men like Brahmananda, Jayapataka, Bhavananda was complete. His word, the raising of his eyebrows, or the turn of his mouth could humiliate them utterly or drive them running into action. And he wrote so many books. He was not small, but if he chose, he could be like a child and you would have care for him completely. That was his love.
Number 9. In India, Srila Prabhupada was often invited to attend programs in people's homes. Sometimes these people were very pious and became devotees by such contact with Srila Prabhupada. In some cases, they mainly wanted material blessings, health, and prosperity, in return for hosting a sadhu and his followers. On one occasion, Srila Prabhupada, along with 20 of his devotees, was sitting in a man's living room, while the man introduced each member of his family. "This is my wife," said the man, and the wife came forward, bowing slightly and folding her palms. "And this is my eldest son, and this is my daughter, and this is my youngest son." Each came forward, and he said his name, while Prabhupada nodded genially. This is the husband of my daughter," the man continued, "and these are their children." Both quickly appeared and exited. Finally, all the members had been introduced and had departed, momentarily leaving Srila Prabhupada alone in the room with his devotees. In a confidential aside, Prabhupada spoke quietly to his disciples, "This is my sex life." 10. Srila Prabhupada once said that whenever a manuscript of his was printed and published as a book, he felt as if he had conquered an empire. So for his disciples, it was also an opportunity for intimate association to be able to prepare his books for printing and to bring him an advance copy fresh from the printer. When Canto 7, Part 2 of the Srimad Bhagavatam was printed, Srila Prabhupada was staying at the New York City ISKCON Center. Rameshwara Swami and Radha Vallabha had gone to the airport and received the first 2 copies by special freight. It was about 2 a.m. when they returned to the temple. Eager to present the book to Prabhupada, they took the elevator up to his rooms on the 11th floor. The light was on in his sitting room. Quietly opening his door, they found that he was not there. They went out again into the hall and saw the light on in their bathroom. With childlike glee, barely controlling their laughter, they each hid a book behind their backs and waited, smiling, to present it to Prabhupada. When Prabhupada came out, he saw them and said, "Oh, you are here." He noticed they were holding something behind their backs and trying to control their smiling. "You have something for me," he said, perfectly reciprocating their mood. And he then walked ahead into the sitting room, looking playfully over his shoulder, and invited them, "Come on." When they handed Srila Prabhupada the books, he exclaimed, "Ah," and immediately took one and touched it to his head. He looked at the cover and then turned the book and looked at the back cover. He opened the front page and read aloud the selected Ephesit verse. He went through the front matter page by page and then carefully looked at all the pictures. Then Srila Prabhupada started reading the book aloud, from Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. The joyful presentation party merged into the ecstasy of the Bhagavatam, reading by Srila Prabhupada. He read on for about 40 minutes, seeming oblivious to everything else.
There were many inconveniences Prabhupada had to face due to his old age and disease, but he was never affected in his pure Krishna consciousness. Even externally, he often refused to bow to the dictates of his maladies, variously diagnosed as diabetes, poor digestion, and many others. He or his followers would call for doctors periodically, but Srila Prabhupada rarely took their prescriptions or followed their diet regimes. He was not what you would call a good patient. When in New York, an Indian allopathic doctor visited and asked Prabhupada and gave Prabhupada medicine and antibiotics. Prabhupada was polite and agreeable, but his servant Harisori was doubtful. "Will you take your medicine?" he asked. Prabhupada patted the pills on his desk and said, non-committedly, "We shall see." He never took them. Some of the devotees thought that Srila Prabhupada was seeing doctors just to engage them in devotional service. He rebelled against strictures on his diet, even when he was quite ill. A Kaviraj in India ordered that Prabhupada couldn't eat rice, potatoes, sugar, and certain fruits. When he called in his cook, Daivi Shakti, in Vrindavan and asked her to make Punjab boli, a hot potato sabji, she dutifully reminded him, "But Prabhupada, you can't eat potatoes." He endured it for a few days and then overthrew the order. He called for his old lunch of rice, dal, chapatis, and sabji. At that time, another of his well-meaning servants, Upendra, intervened and tried to restrain him. "But Prabhupada, the doctor told you not to take all these things. You're going to get sick." Prabhupada replied, "We are not Dr. Das. We are Krishna Das." From then on, he resumed his normal diet. In Mayapur, his cook, Palika Dasi, attempted an even stricter discipline based on the instructions of a famous Kaviraj from Calcutta. In this case, Prabhupada was to follow an intricate schedule by which he would take pills and eat and drink only at certain hours. This was in 1977, when Prabhupada was so sick that he was rarely coming down to the temple to give classes or to go on morning walks. One afternoon, a devotee named Anakadandabi, unaware of the tight schedule of Prabhupada's drinking and eating, bought Prabhupada a fresh coconut daub to drink as usual. Although Prabhupada knew very well that he was not supposed to take anything at this time, he quietly accepted the daub and poured it into his cup. Just as he started to drink it, Palika came by and admonished him, "Srila Prabhupada, you're not supposed to take anything." Prabhupada became defiant. "Who said?" he challenged, and immediately drank down the whole cup of juice, although it was usually his custom to sip it slowly. All my life, he said, I have done whatever I wanted. A disciple, Satyanarayan Das, had been advised by other devotees that serious study of Ayurveda would be important. Satyanarayan was living in Florida, but he planned to go to India to take up the medical study. He had written to a Kaviraj in Calcutta, one whom Prabhupada also sometimes saw, and the Kaviraj had written back agreeing to accept Satyanarayan as his student. Arriving in Mayapur, Satyanarayan went to see Srila Prabhupada, who at that moment was receiving a massage on the roof of the building. At his disciples' first attempts to explain the Ayurveda project, Srila Prabhupada put up his hand and said, "Oh, I'm very tired now." It seems that he was not only tired, but not particularly inclined to hear. Within a day or two, Satyanarayan managed to get another interview. This time, he entered Srila Prabhupada's room, offered his dandavats, and explained things a little further. "I can stay as a pujari here in Calcutta. It's only a mile away to the doctor, and I can study under him. I have permission from my GBC man." Prabhupada interrupted him. "No, this is not very important." Then he just looked away. Satyanarayan couldn't believe that he was just supposed to accept it with no further comment. He wanted an answer and a reason, so he sat silently looking at Prabhupada. Prabhupada kindly turned to him. "We are not interested in studying these different sciences. Whatever medicines work, you use it. Actually, Western medicine is very advanced, so there is no reason to study this. We want to become Brahmanas." Prabhupada pointed to the Krishna book on his desk and said, "You simply read my books. That is what you should do." Satyanarayan felt satisfied and said, "Thank you, Prabhupada." Prabhupada replied strongly, "Hare Krishna," and that was the end of Satyanarayan's career in Ayurveda. Haribol. Can I just read this one more? It's called Prabhupada Said on raising children. "I discussed the contents of your letter with His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada stated that our grihastha should simply chant 50 rounds before conceiving a child. Prabhupada said, we do not want all these rituals. Chanting Hare Krishna is our only business. According to the Manu Samhita, you are all malechas and yavanas. You cannot touch the Manu Samhita. What to speak of translating it? So if you try to follow the Manu Samhita, then you will become a malecha and a yavana and your career is finished." That was a letter of May 19, 1977. And then he goes on to, "I understand you are now expecting a nice child for raising in Krishna consciousness. In this connection, you should avoid any spicy foods so long as the child is within the womb. So far, natural childbirth is concerned, natural delivery is possible if we keep ourselves naturally. And so far, I know a pregnant woman should not even eat pungent foodstuffs. She should not move in cars. She should not sit idly. She should move and do some physical work. These are the general rules and regulations I have seen in India. They have naturally delivered. But so far, your country is concerned, especially the situation of women there. That is a different thing. I cannot say definitely what is to be done. And under the circumstances, the best thing is to consult a doctor as they usually do. And after all, Krishna is the ultimate master, so if you keep the natural habitat and depend on Krishna, then everything will be done nicely without any difficulty." So that's a letter of March 24, 1969. So this is a compilation of letters that he wrote.
letter of November 27, 1971. You ask if the children should be taken to ordinary medical doctors. Why not? Of course, we can't always trust that these doctors may be doing the right thing, but what can be done? The governing principle for our activity should be to do what is favorable for pleasing Krishna. So if your child requires medical attention to be fit for serving Krishna, then it is only practical, she should get it. The same thing, the government is giving you money. Why not use it for Krishna? The only thing you must avoid cheating them while falsely claiming something to get money. Then we are risking our very high reputation as pious people. But if they are willing to give us money and food, then of course we should accept. A letter of August 1968. Regarding the child problem in class, I may inform you that our children born of Krishna-conscious parents are all welcome, and Krishna-conscious parents are all welcome, and I want hundreds of children like that, because in the future we expect to change the face of the world because the child is the father of the man. Anyway, I have seen initial M, so I don't know who that refers to, is nursing her child so nicely that she attended my meeting every day, and the child was playing, not crying. Similarly, L's child also never cries or disturbs the meeting. L was always present with her child, so it depends on the mother. How to keep the child comfortable so that he will not cry. The child cries only when it feels uncomfortable. The child's comfort and discomfort depends on the mother's attention. So the best solution is we train all our small babies in such a way that they are always satisfied and there will be no disturbance in the meeting. Then there will be no complaint. But there cannot be any hard and fast rules that only children who are grown up, say 7 or 8 years old, can be admitted and no other children can be admitted. That is not possible, and I'm not going to sanction any such rule. Rather, I shall welcome the baby from the very beginning so that the transcendental vibration may enter into its ear, and from the very beginning of its life it becomes purified. But of course, children cannot be allowed to disturb in the meeting by crying, and it is the mother's responsibility to keep them comfortable and not disturb the meeting. Can I read one more? Prabhupada tells a story. When Shyama Sundardas was in charge of ISKCON England, he bought very expensive crystal chandeliers. They cost £3,000, and the devotees had to take them back because they couldn't afford them. On this occasion, Prabhupada was talking about the crystal chandeliers. He said, "This reminds me of a story of a Nawab. Nawab means rich one. He has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it all. One Nawab had one servant cleaning a big crystal chandelier. So as the servant was cleaning the chandelier, a crystal fell, and as it crashed onto the marble floor, it made an unusual tinkling sound, which the Nawab heard from his room. The Nawab came running out and asked, 'What was that sound?' The servant was petrified and asked forgiveness. 'I'm sorry,' he said. 'When I was cleaning the chandelier, one of the precious crystals fell and shattered on the floor. I am very sorry.' The Nawab said, 'Oh, this is a very nice sound. Throw one more down.' So the servant smashed another onto the floor. 'Very nice sound,' said the Nawab. 'Throw another one down.' And so, in this way, every single crystal of the chandelier was thrown and smashed on the ground. Because the Nawab had so much money at his disposal, he could do anything he liked. Similarly, said Srila Prabhupada, Shyama Sundar thinks he's got so much money he can just throw it.
Okay, 15, personal. His preaching spirit. In the evening he wanted to see guests. We suggested he not see people who would waste his time, and he agreed. But then he would become angry with us if we kept people from seeing him, because he existed for preaching to them. It was his duty to preach, he felt. Prabhupada was self-satisfied and never restless or bored, yet if the place was really quiet with no preaching there, he seemed to want to go where there was some action. This was also a manifestation of his desire to accomplish as much as possible. Prabhupada was already accomplished in terms of self-realization and love of Krishna. Therefore, his travel was only for the benefit of others. He felt he had to travel, and he kept on the move. When he arrived in a new place, he was immediately ready to see the local people. The room would fill up, and he would preach for hours. This feature of Prabhupada's behavior was astounding. Day and night, people would come into his room, sometimes a few, sometimes many. Prabhupada would always speak to them about Krishna. He would speak on the basis of Bhagavad Gita, calling for verses to be cited, answering questions, preaching much as in his classes. The informal talks were more unusual. Many of his talks in later years were recorded. He would preach, preach, preach. He kept going hours on end, preaching the basic philosophy, holding the room full of people, then taking a little prasadam and distributing it. When he would travel to certain places, as in Europe, where he would speak to many people and bring them to devotional service, he would be especially enlivened to preach. Preaching included encouraging the local ISKCON disciples wherever he visited. And preaching also meant his book writing. It also meant his spirit of maintaining and expanding ISKCON in all its activities. We cannot describe the full glories of his preaching spirit. His enthusiasm was unlimited, and even today is nourishing all the preachers of ISKCON. When he was ill and feeling inconvenience, when the people he was speaking to were low class or disinterested, when his body was very old, and when in order to preach he had to interrupt his schedule, when there was difficulty going on within his ISKCON, still his preaching would go on. Sitting at his low desk talking, his eyes sometimes widening, hands sometimes gesturing, taking water to drink, chanting almost soundless japa when not talking, focusing in on special guests to develop a whole argument with them. Prabhupada was intent on his preaching points, although he had made the same points millions of times. Thus he was not just a scholar, but a pure devotee attempting to convince everyone that they had to change. The whole world had to change, or else. Keep going? Keep going? Yep. 16. It didn't happen very often, but sometimes Srila Prabhupada was overcome by ecstatic emotions while lecturing. It happened, for example, in the San Francisco storefront when Prabhupada was describing Lord Chaitanya's mood of separation from Krishna. It also happened in Gorakhpur, India, while Prabhupada was seated before the deities of Radha Madhava discussing Krishna's pastimes. Again, it happened in Los Angeles during a lecture. He said that his disciples were young and had much opportunity to preach, whereas his life had no value because I am an old man who may die at any moment. As soon as he uttered these words, Prabhupada was suddenly unable to talk, and a very perceivable change in his consciousness took place. It seemed to some of the devotees who witnessed these states that the spiritual world had suddenly opened up directly before Prabhupada's vision, and Krishna was communicating with him in a way that made him unable to speak. One time, after the same thing happened before a large gathering of devotees in Mayapur, the devotees inquired from Srila Prabhupada about their own behaviour on such occasions. In Mayapur, when Srila Prabhupada became stunned, the whole congregation became breathlessly silent, waiting for a cue from their spiritual master. But suddenly, one of the sannyasis broke the mood and began singing, Namo Vishnu Padaya. At first, no one followed his singing, but when he persisted, others gradually joined, and then Prabhupada broke out of his meditative trance. Afterwards, there was a strong disagreement among the devotees over the sannyasi's behaviour. Some said it was offensive. Finally, the issue came to Prabhupada's secretary, Brahmanananda Swami, who was asked to settle the matter by asking Prabhupada. Brahmananda Swami asked Prabhupada if he remembered how during the lecture that morning he'd gone into a deep silence. Srila Prabhupada replied shyly, almost embarrassed, and said, I do not do that very often. But when it does happen, Brahmananda Swami asked, what should we do? Should we be silent or should we chant japa? Prabhupada said, yes, just chant Hare Krishna, that's all right. Brahmananda then asked if what the sannyasi disciple had done that morning was all right by chanting. Yes, said Prabhupada, that was all right. Prabhupada treated the whole occasion as rather insignificant and thus gave his devotees a hint that they should not get involved in speculation. Of course, they could not forget what they had seen, but they should not make a big thing about Prabhupada going into ecstasies. It had occurred, but it was not his main method or of precept or example, and to chant Hare Krishna at such a time was all right.
Mahabodhi Das tells of the first time he met Srila Prabhupada. His name at that time was Randy, and he had long blonde hair. He was a football player at San Diego State University, a leader in student government, and a son of wealthy parents. He had been taking part in the congregational kirtan in the Los Angeles temple when Prabhupada's secretary invited him to come upstairs to Prabhupada's room. Randy liked the idea, but when he entered Prabhupada's quarters, he found himself the only guest in the small room. Srila Prabhupada was seated at his desk, surrounded by sannyasis and GBC disciples, none of whom knew Randy. While Randy was trying to gather his wits about the situation, Prabhupada began to preach, looking straight at him, saying, why be a Kripana? What's a Kripana, thought Randy, and Srila Prabhupada replied, Kripana means miser. Randy thought of Randy thought of his family's wealth and how he and his parents had their own plans for using it. Prabhupada continued speaking about the Kripana mentality, and by now Randy had the direct impression that Prabhupada was speaking to his mind and defeating each of his defiant thoughts. It was like a conversation between Randy's rebellious thoughts and Srila Prabhupada's smashing spoken replies. Because you have been given some ability, wealth, and opulence by Krishna, said Prabhupada, looking to Randy, who sat against the wall, therefore you should use it in Krishna's service. If you use it only for your personal sense gratification, that's simply miserly. If you do not take to Krishna consciousness, you will ruin your human form of life. Srila Prabhupada continued explaining the process of devotional service, and Randy managed to resume some of his pride and defensiveness. He began to feel insulted that Prabhupada had called him a miser. Randy admitted to himself that Prabhupada seemed to have read his mind, but if Prabhupada was actually perfect, then he should know the future. In this way, Randy began to feel the return of his usual pride. As if in response to these thoughts, Prabhupada suddenly called for a copy of the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam and began reading aloud the predictions for degraded humanity and the coming age, the age of Kali. Men will consider that to have long hair means they are beautiful, said Srila Prabhupada. When Randy heard that, he began to shake. He felt completely stunned. He thought to himself, he has completely defeated me. 18. When Srila Prabhupada flew on planes, his servants carried his silver plate and served him with full meals. His disciples usually cooked much more for his travels than he would eat. One time, Srila Prabhupada asked to eat just before the plane was to take off. The stewardesses were making preparations for departure, but Srila Prabhupada's servant brought him his prasadam, which had been recently cooked at the temple. Prabhupada sat alone, undisturbed, as the other passengers looked at him, buckled their seatbelts and put their trays and seats in the upright position. Somehow the stewardesses didn't insist on Prabhupada's conforming, so he continued calmly eating as the jet sped down the runway. His servant anxiously held on to the drinking cups while Prabhupada ate his meal with no notice or care for his surroundings. Only when the plane was high in the air did Prabhupada finish. Turning to his servant, he said, "All right, you can take these away now." At one of the ISKCON International Festivals in Vrindavan, Prabhupada rejected the singing of one of his disciples. The devotee had previously been a singer in a band, and his kirtans were very much appreciated by some devotees, especially those from his home temple. But with showy professionalism, he began leading the Guru Puja in Prabhupada's presence, making the tune sound like a rock and roll ballad. Prabhupada didn't like it. He shook his head and indicated that someone else should lead. The great kirtan singer was devastated by the rejection, another form of Prabhupada's mercy. For a time in Mayapur, 2 Bengali ladies were cooking a large feast of about 25 preparations and sending it over to Srila Prabhupada at his meal time. But he was eating very little of it. "I'm eating with my eyes," he laughed. He then described how in the old days in Bengal, aristocratic people would invite one another for meals. One would prepare a huge, sumptuous feast, and another would come and appreciate how it was cooked and arranged so nicely. The guests would merely look at the feast and say, "Oh, very nicely done." Then all of the servants would actually eat it.
There's a video called Acharya. Would everybody like to see that? Yeah, we'll mix it up. Garanga. Damodarasi come at 6 or 6:30? What's normal program? So that would... Mr. MC, 20 minutes?
We're going to do kirtan anyways afterwards.
Because what time does that mean? 7 o'clock is... So 7, we'll do Damodarasi half an hour, and then 7 till 7:20 with Hare Krishna Kirtan. Yeah. All right. We're going to read one more while Nandu sets up the screen. And then after, at 6:30, we'll have Sandhya Aarti, and then the Damodarastikam, the offering of the candles to the deities with the Damodarastikam prayers. And then 7 o'clock, we'll turn and focus onto Prabhupada and prepare for the 7:20 Aarti to Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, during the Aarti, then everybody can have a candle to offer and say a personal prayer. Would you like to read number 19 for us? And then when Nandu gives us the thumbs up, we will...
Srila Prabhupada was very good at imitating the sounds of men, animals, and machines. He did not do it by any gross oral manipulations as some modern comedians do, but by the use of onomatopoeic sounds and even Sanskrit derivations. He always did it to prove a Krishna conscious point. One time in Beverly Hills, Prabhupada gave a whole tour de force of imitative sounds. Prabhupada had been alone writing when his servant went into his room, and Prabhupada began to speaking. Quote, "There are so many material sounds. Just now I was listening and I could hear the freeway." Close quote. Prabhupada then imitated the cars. The sound he made for the cars might be written down as woo, woo. But it is not possible to capture the actual sound in print, or even by imitating the sound. It gave an exact impression of what cars sound like on the freeway. Prabhupada's car sound even included a criticism of the foolish endeavours of the highway rushing karamis. Quote, and in the alley, close quote, said Prabhupada, quote, "The garbage truck is coming," close quote. He then made another perfect imitation, quote, "I also hear these birds," close quote, said Prabhupada. Quote, "Someone nearby has roosters," close quote. Prabhupada then gave a Sanskrit version of cock-a-doodle-doo, which was also perfect. quote, "But someday," close quote, said Prabhupada, and then he became completely quiet. This whole conversation had been taking place in the early morning in Prabhupada's room, and therefore when he became silent, it seemed like the whole world was silent. He repeated, quote, "And then someday," close quote. Suddenly Prabhupada imitated an exploding bomb. Quote, "The atom bomb will go off and it will all be finished," close quote.
In 1965, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, a Vedic scholar and holy man in the renounced order of life, left India for America to transform a bold vision into a historical reality of global dimension. To fulfill the desire of generations of Indian saints who wished to see India's timeless spiritual culture benefit the entire world, Srila Prabhupada left India and sailed to the United States. When he arrived by freighter, he was practically penniless, but after nearly a year of struggle, he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in July of 1966. In the years that followed, the society grew rapidly, and Hare Krishna became familiar to millions of people. Srila Prabhupada became the focal point for the public's interest in the Hare Krishna movement, but he was never too busy to carefully answer any question. And, with each and every encounter, he would open the doors to the ancient philosophical and spiritual knowledge of India. An acharya is one who teaches by example. By his personal example, Srila Prabhupada demonstrated that the soul, the self, is naturally eternal, full of knowledge, and full of transcendental bliss. When a living being is awakened to his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he becomes filled with sublime, exalted spiritual emotions that have no material counterpart. As a great self-realized and God-conscious saint, Srila Prabhupada often exhibited the spiritual happiness that Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. That sacred and ancient fountainhead of wisdom has this to say about the final state of human perfection. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he knows there is no greater gain.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You founded the Hare Krishna movement some 7 years ago in 1967, did you not?
Yes.
In a capsule, what is the movement?
The movement is to awaken God consciousness of the human being. The human being is distinguished from the animals, that the animals cannot understand what is God.
Mm-hmm.
And if the human being also does not understand what is God, then he is enemy.
I see. And so your movement is to bring about an understanding of God among human beings.
Yes.
And Hare Krishna means what?
Hare Krishna means addressing the energy of God. Hare means the energy of God, and Krishna means God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you were here yesterday and to attend your annual festival that was held here in Golden Gate Park, and we were there too. And in fact, here it is. A few thousand people came out to hear it. How many people are now disciples of the Krishna consciousness movement?
Dedicated life, about 10,000.
About 10,000 dedicated
in
ones.
the Western world.
Mm-hmm. Your Grace, is there any significance at all in the shaved head? Why are heads shaved?
we keep ourselves very clean, that's all.
Oh, it's just a cleanliness thing?
Yes.
Is there any significance in the color of the robes?
At least at the present moment, people think that by keeping long hair, it becomes very beautiful.
I see.
Yes. So we are against that.
Mm-hmm. Just as simple as that. Is there any significance in the yellow robes?
Yellow robe is the dress, those who are dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It could very well have been a blue robe. It's just something that was arrived at.
This saffron.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your Grace, why do you feel that so many people are pulling away from the traditional religions in this country, such as Christianity and so forth, and going for the trying to understand the Eastern religions? We hear a lot of swamis and gurus and other type of yogi and so forth. Why do you feel that people are pulling away from the traditional Christian standards here?
But we see that the Christian churches, especially I have seen in London, mostly closed. People are not interested, or the Christian leaders, they cannot make them interested.
Why? Did Christianity fail the people, which is why they're turning to other things? Or?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You say that Hare Krishna consciousness pretty much takes the absolute truths from the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and the Vedic.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Religion means to understand God.
I understand, but do you feel that in getting truths from various places like the Bible and the Quran and so forth, don't you run into conflicts at all or contradictions in those particular philosophies?
No, I don't find any conflict, because the ultimate goal is God. So you have to understand God and try to love Him. So you can go through any religious process. If the goal is attained, that you understand what is goal, and you try to love Him, then your life is perfect.
Why do we see so many of your followers chanting almost all the time?
Chanting means to keep association with God always.
So you have to audibly chant Hare Krishna?
Yes. This is transcendental vibration. Just like a radio message, if you keep contact with the radio message, then you know everything what is going on outside. Similarly, this transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, if you chant, then you keep connection with God directly.
Thank you very much, Your Divine Grace. It's been our privilege to talk with you and to meet you.
Thank you.
And hope that we can see you again when you return.
Hare Krishna.
We'll be back with more news in just a moment.
Chittaiva tripting bhajata sadaiva. Chittaiva tripting bhajata sadaiva. Vande Gurasi charanarabindam. Vande Gurasi charanarabindam. Very much happy because these American boys are helping me. It is due to their cooperation the movement is spread all over the world.
Where will you go from here?
In America? What is the date I entered? In Hawaii?
She's asking where you will go after Dallas.
Where will you visit?
Oh, from Dallas I will go to New Virginia.
West Virginia.
West Virginia?
From there I shall go to London.
Are you pleased with the Krishna movement in the United States? Do you think it's growing?
What do you think?
I think it is. And this pleases you.
It is growing very fast.
Do you
Not
think...
only growing, but growing very fast. And the flowers of your country, the young generation, they are taking it very seriously. These boys, these girls, they are taking it very seriously.
Do you think that the children you see here will carry on?
We are creating another generation of Krishna consciousness. So it will continue.
What does Krishna offer that some of the other religious beliefs of the world?
Krishna is God. So other religion who follow consciousness, so there is no difference. It may be different some name, but religion means God consciousness. Without God consciousness, there is no religion.
And what does worshiping in your way, is it any better than worshiping in another way? Is it a more direct contact with Krishna?
Well, every way is nice, provided the followers are nice. Unfortunately, the principles are not followed. Just like in Christian religion, it is said, thou shalt not kill. But killing is very good thing here in the Christian world. The killing simply. So many slaughterhouses. That is not Christian religion. But followers, they do not follow the rules and regulations. That is regulated. Otherwise, it is very nice. Our also principle is no meat eating. That means there is no killing of animals. Every religion says like that, but the followers do not follow.
The Krishna religion teaches that women are to be subservient to men always. Why?
The Krishna religion teaches that women should be subservient, should be subordinate to men. He's asking why.
Well, not should be, they are, by nature. What do you think, your position?
I don't believe in that, of course. I disagree.
But if voluntarily become subservient to a man, that is the nature.
Does that make them less of a being?
They are seeking to become subservient, attracting man. Take me as subservient. That is natural. Even psychologically, it is analyzed that the brain of man is up, they have seen up to 64 rounds, whereas the brain of woman, they have not found more than 36 rounds.
But women live longer than men.
Huh?
Women live longer than men.
Not necessarily.
So
yes,
we got you.
Sometimes. My grandmother lived about 100 years. My mom. So sometimes it happens.
You see, now how old...
It is not restricted among women. There are men also.
How old is the movement?
Well, from historical point of view, it is about 5,000 years old.
Why has it just begun to really catch on in the Western world? I mean, just recently, in recent years, has it begun to sweep the Western world? Why is this?
The Western world, the younger generation were being frustrated, the hippie movement. So, when they saw something tangible, they accepted it.
What things would, if everyone in the United States believed in Krishna to the extent that you do, what would happen to this country? How would it be transformed?
They'll be very happy and peaceful. There will be no more hippies.
What would you describe as a hippie? Someone who smokes.
You know better than me. Something extraordinary.
How do you respond to this? How should people who follow your beliefs, how should they respond to other people who are criticizing them and for the way that they?
This criticism, you criticize me, I criticize you. That is going on. Even there is no change of dress. It is man's nature to become envious, to criticize others. That is material nature.
So you think that they're envious because they're criticizing?
Yes.
Because of the happiness that the people have?
Certainly. Oh. Sometimes they inquire, are you Americans? Because they never saw Americans so peaceful. And in the priests also, they are very much appreciate in Melbourne, the Bishop of Melbourne and the head of the Scottish Church and many church people, they very much appreciated, invited me and talked in a society of San Francis. There were hundreds of others. The meeting was attended. I spoke for 1 hour and they very much appreciated. I applauded for 10 minutes and they accepted. Very good. And Reverend Powell, he gave declaration that we have no alarm from the Krishna movement.
Do you, this is your 3rd visit to Dallas, is that correct?
I think 3 or 4. Third.
Why was Dallas selected as the point to establish the school? I believe this is the first school, isn't it, in the United States to be established? Why was Dallas particularly chosen for the school?
That's Krishna's choice.
Krishna's choice. He chose Dallas.
Yes, we got a nice house and we accepted it. So it was Krishna's choice.
Where does the Krishna National or the International Krishna Organization get its funds? From simply donations? They've been criticized occasionally for being very wealthy.
Yeah, that is our reputation. Even in Indian Parliament, this question was raised. That these Hare Krishna people, fabulously rich, where they get money. Somebody suspected that we are getting bribes from American government. What is that, CIA? One should be killed. That is love.
Love means never killing?
There are so many things. It is one of the items. Yes, that is one. Do you kill your own son? Why? Because you love him.
Would you explain the other side of it? The fact that, of course, the Bhagavad Gita has its setting on a battlefield in which Krishna enjoins Arjuna.
That killing and poor animal who is supplying milk, you are drinking milk, your mother, and you are killing. This killing and that killing is not the same thing. According to Vedic civilization, the cow is to be given special protection. Why? It is recommended for the cow. It does not say of other animals.
Srila Prabhupada, you are aware that they advanced the argument of mesmerization against chanting.
That's good. That's good. If you can mesmerize, that Dr. Judas admitted that you can mesmerize the drug-addicted hippies and engage them in understanding Krishna. It's a great achievement.
Commercials.
Yes.
It's not mesmerization.
Whatever it may be. Dr. Judas admitted. So, if mesmerization is for good, why not accept it? If it is for bad, then it is anything. If it is doing good, why not accept it? What do you think?
I don't know how to react. I think I agree with you.
If it is good, everything good should be accepted.
No problem. I keep wondering how you're so sure you know what good is, particularly when it comes to war. I would be a little more worried, I think, that...
what is that word?
Well, when you were telling that sometimes war is necessary, I should think that it's important to know how to decide when...
No, necessary means you cannot expect in this material world all saintly persons. There are bad elements. So if a bad element comes to attack you, is it not your duty to fight and protect?
So it just may be, though, that mine are the bad elements, and I keep thinking that other people are the bad elements.
No.
That's right.
Even God has got this discrimination. He says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskita. There are bad elements. In God's mind there is good element, bad element. So we are part and parcel of God. We must have also the same sentiment. You cannot avoid it.
The body is not divided.
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying that when we say everything is part of God, the body
is
an
also.
exception. He says the body then is an exception. The body is not part of God?
No, why? Body is also part.
Yes, the body is also part.
Yeah, that's it. I explained.
Maya Shakti.
Yes, it is another energy.
I see.
Inferior energy.
Inferior energy.
Everything is God's energy. The body is also God's energy. The best use of the body is God's energy should be utilized for God. Then it is body spiritualized. Body is also God's energy. And if it is engaged in God's service, then the body is no more bad bargain. It is a good bargain.
Haribo. 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 Hare Haribo. Hey. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kiva Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Ka Shobha Akiva Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Ka Shobha लोभाने जगमाना लोभा जानावी तत्वाने जगमाना लोभा কিবদকি নেনিতাই চান ভম্মে গরধার অখিবদকি নেনিতাই চান ভামে গরধার বাস ছত্রধার নিকতে আদ্বৈত শ্রেণী বস ছত্রধার বসি আছেন গৌরচান রত্ন সিংহাসনে আখি বাবসি আছেন গৌরচান রত্ন সিংহাসনে আরতি করেন ব্রহ্মা আদিদেব গানে আরতি করেন ব্রহ্মা আদিদেব গানে অক্ষি বনারা হরে আদি কৌরে চামর ধুলায় অক্ষি বনারা হরে আদি কৌরে চামর ধুলায় হরি সঞ্জয়া মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষাধিগায় সঞ্জয়া মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষাদি গায় শঙ্খ ভাজে ঘণ্ট ভাজে ভজ কর তাল অখিব শঙ্খ ভাজে ঘণ্ট ভাজে ভজ করো তাল হরে মাধুরা মৃদঙ্গ ভাজে পরম রসালা হরে মাধুরা মৃদঙ্গ ভাজে পরম রসালা শঙ্খ ভাজে ঘণ্ট ভাজে মধুর 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 বাজে শঙ্খ ভাজে ঘণ্ট ভাজে মধুর 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 বাজে রে মধুর 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 বাজে হরি মধুর 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 বাজে নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল কিবা বহু কোটি চন্দ্র যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল শিব বাহু কোটি চন্দ্র যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল হরি গাল দেশে বানো মাল করে ঝালো মাল গাল দেশে বানো মাল করে ঝালো মালা শিব শিবা শুক নারদা প্রেমে গদ গাদ Sakhiv Shiva Shuka Narada Prem Gad Gada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhi Gaurara Sangpada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhi Gaurara Sangpada गौरांगे आरोतिक शोभा जग जन माना लोभा हर गौरांगे आरोतिक शोभा जग जन माना लोभा जाग जाना मान लोभा जाग जाना मान लोभा निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल नमारो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूताले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नामस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चात्यादेश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा बोलो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol
Namami Swaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalango Kule Vrajamana Namo Yashoda Beyo Luka Ladavamanam Yashoda Beyo Luka Ladavamanam Paramrishtamadhyanta Todritya Gopya Yudanta Mohurnetram Yogamamrijantam Kalamboja Yugamena Satankanetram Muhurtsvasakam vatrere kanta kanta Muhurtsvasakam vatrere kanta kanta Sita Greva Damodaram Bhakti Vadam Namamiswaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalango Gule Brajamanam Namamiswaram Iti Triksvale Labhir Ananda Kunde Svagoshani Majantam Akyapayantam Tadi estita Geshung Bhaktirjitatvam Tadi estita Geshung Bhaktirjitatvam Purna Prematastam Satavriti Vande Namamiswaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasakundalangam Gule Brajamana Varam deva moksham na moksham varim va nachanyan vrineham vadeshadapiha Idam teva purnata gopalavala Idam teva purnata gopalavala Sada me manasya virastam kimanyai. Namam Vishwaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasakundalanga Kule Brajamana Namam Iram Te Mukam Bojam Atyantanelai Vitam Kundalai Snigdang Raktaisya Gopya Moshchometam Bimarakta Daramen Moshchometam Bimarakta Daramen Manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai Shavirastam alam lakshalabhai Namam Vishwaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Asakundalango Gule Prajamana Namam Vishwaram Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukha Jalabdimana Kripa Drishti Vrisyate Dena Patano Kripa Drishti Vrisyate Dena Patano Vihane Shamamagyam Etyakshidrishya Namam Vishwaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasatkundalango Kule Brajamana Kuviratma Jovada Murtyaiva Yadva Vayamochito Bhakti Vajakrito Cha Tata Prema Bhaktim Takame Prayacha Tata Prema Bhaktim Takame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareya Namam Vishwaram Sa Chidananda Rupam Lasatkundalango Gule Prajamana Namaste Spuramne Puradete damne Tvadiyodarayata Vishvasya damne Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Oh Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Oh Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Natalilaya Devaya Tuvya Lilaya Devaya Tuvya Namo Natalilaya Devaya Tuvya Namami Swaram Sachidananda Rupa Lasa Kundalango Kule Prajamana Namami Swaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasa Kundalango Kule Prajamana Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Jaya Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Damodara Sikamaki, Litai Gaurapamanane.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We're going to invite everybody to come close to Prabhupada. And the program will be that Ambika Mataji is going to, Ambika Prabhu is going to set the tone, the mood, share her experience of Prabhupada's departure. And then we will be led in the prayers of Jaya Nilo, Premadana, which is traditionally sung at the departure of a great soul. At that time, on the right here, Kalindi has candles for everybody to offer during that Jaya Nilo prayer. You can offer and then place them down here, pay your obeisances, and take a seat again. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I was not there in Vrindavan, but I'm just talking about books I've read and devotees I've spoken to who were there. So, of course, this day, the dreaded day, It had taken Prabhupada had been there for some few weeks. He actually came because he was thinking he was going to leave the body. So he said, you take me back to Vrindavan. So I want to live in Vrindavan. So, but of course for the devotees, it was just unimaginable because Prabhupada was still running everything and everything could have depended on Srila Prabhupada. So they were trying to talk Srila Prabhupada out of leaving. You know, they were thinking, well, if you don't want, then it won't happen. If we pray to Krishna, it won't happen. And so it was kind of a very long leela, and there were various kavirajas brought in, and Srila Prabhupada would try this and try that. And he would say, yes, I'll try, you know, but then after some time, you know, Srila Prabhupada was completely surrendered to what Krishna wanted. So on that, just a few days before, he had expressed his desire to go to Govardhan, and that caused a lot of difficulty. So Lokanath Maharaj said, yes, I can organize bullock carts. That's what he wanted to do, go on a bullock cart. But the devotees were so fearful because Srila Prabhupada's body was so thin. There was no flesh anymore. There were just bones. And they just couldn't bear the pain that Srila Prabhupada would be in if he went on this bullock cart ride. But he really wanted to go to Govardhan, and he was saying, so what if I leave? It's all right. But they said, actually, you won't even last half an hour. It'll take 6 hours to get there. And there was a great sort of controversy between the devotees, the ones who wanted to do what Prabhupada wanted, and the ones that wanted to insist that Prabhupada stay there in Vrindavan because, you know, it wouldn't be conducive for his health. So after one long day, it went on for some days, Lokanath Maharaj organized everything, and then on just a couple of days, I think it was 2 days before Srila Prabhupada left, the devotees just went down in late in the night, and they said, Srila Prabhupada, you've put us through so much anxiety. We really don't want you to go. We know you'll leave on that cart. We really would like you to stay here. And so Srila Prabhupada said, all right, I'll stay here. So on this day, it was the 14th of November in 1977, it was fairly evident to the Kaviraj that Srila Prabhupada would leave on that day. So before that, the devotees had been taking care of Srila Prabhupada, everything, because, you know, he was unable to move without independently. So on that day, the doors were thrown open, the women came, everybody came. It was known that Srila Prabhupada was leaving. So they asked Srila Prabhupada, do you have any desires? And I think he said, Koi ichane, I have no desires. And then the devotees began kirtan. So Srila Prabhupada wasn't responding, and as the day went on, the devotees became more and more intense. As you can imagine, they were trying to massage feet, Srila Prabhupada's feet, head. There was so much affectionate love and intensity flying around in Srila Prabhupada's quarters on that day, throughout the day. When Srila Prabhupada passed, then of course there was just the devotees were openly weeping, some were banging their heads on the wall. It was like, couldn't be believed that Srila Prabhupada had actually left. It was incredibly intense. That was the devotees' feeling was, we don't want you to leave. On the other side, Krishna made arrangements that he would leave, and I always think on this day of the absolute tributes and exaltation of all the demigods and sages and everybody else as Srila Prabhupada is passing on his royal path back to Krishna Loka. So there was the side of the devotees not wanting to let go of Srila Prabhupada's association, and the side of all these exalted people wanting to glorify Srila Prabhupada because he'd done what no Vaishnava had been able to do. So it was a very intense mood. So as we offer those lamps, we can meditate on Srila Prabhupada, the sort of the height of what he attained in those short 12 years, 11, 12 years, what he managed to do to start this worldwide movement to change so many people's lives. And then the sort of exhilaration of those waiting to shower flowers and glorify Srila Prabhupada as he passed on his way back to Godhead. So we can meditate on these things as we offer in gratitude to Srila Prabhupada at the time that he left. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Just all the verses. It's pretty short. We'll just say the translations because we still have a few minutes. The translation of the Jaya Nilo Bhajan that we'll sing for Srila Prabhupada.
He who brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Advaita Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta, and where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Everybody together. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Prabhu Kota Gela Charyata Ko Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyata Ko Kahamara Sarupa Kahasanata Kahamara Swarupa Kahasanata Kahadasara Gunata Patita Pava Kahadasara Gunata Patita Pava Jaya Nila Premadana Karuna Paju Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyata Ko Kahamara Bhatta Juga Kaha Kavira Kahamara Bhatta Juga Kaha Kavira Jaya Nila Premadana Karuna Praju Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyatako
Hena Prabhu Kota Gela
Se Samba Sangira Sangi Jai Koilo Bila Se Samba Sangira Sangi Jai Koilo Bila Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamo Da Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamo Das Jaya Nila Premadana Karuna Praju Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyatako
Hena Prabhu Kota Gela
Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyatako Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki.